What is up, everybody? Lord of Hearth, aka Tony here. We got a nice little stream for you guys on a Friday night. I got my guest here. I got Alicia. Hold on, I done did some rookie move. Okay, Alicia Kingston's here, and I got special guest Don Willi, a Don of Ice and Fire. First time I've been on a stream with him, so I'm honored and blessed to have him here. You've seen me and Alicia together a bunch of times, but it's been a long time, so I figured we'd get one in here. What the title of this stream is going to be is Where Do We Go From Here? Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of these characters, mostly main characters, but what we think's going to happen to them, predictions, our opinions. Like we said, it's going to be nothing but our opinion. I don't know nothing. I'm pretty sure they don't know anything. What's going to happen. I mean, they did get those fake leaks that came out, but I don't buy none of it, so I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, we're just going to go down the list, and we're going to talk about what we think's going to happen, and keep it a nice little stream for you guys on a Friday night. So I'm going to go ahead and get Alicia to give her opening. So, Alicia, go ahead.
What goes on, my people? Lord of Last Hearth has me on with him and Don Willi, the champions. I haven't been on with either one of my boys in a long time, so I am glad to be here. Let's get it going.
Don Willi, tell the people who you are.
Valamogolis, everybody. It's Don Willi, and I'm so glad to be here with my man Tony and also AK47. You know what the deal is. I'm sitting up here vaping as always and hoping I do not blow my face off, because I actually tried to recoil this tank and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So hopefully you guys won't see a major accident live on YouTube.
You ain't here pulling a fucking Kyburn right now. Don't do that.
Yeah, be careful, dog. I seen somebody's pocket set on fire before. I remember the first time I think I ever seen Don Willi in a stream, and I seen him blowing them big clouds of smoke, and I thought you was puffing herb or whatever, and then you held up, it was a little bottle of dragon tears. So I thought I missed every time now I see you in the stream, I always see the cloud, I'm always thinking the dragon tears. But yeah, we're gonna start off here. Like I said, everything it's nothing real big and formal. We're just gonna go down the line with a couple characters. Probably gonna start, with the Lannister camp / King's Landing area. And I think right now, I guess, I say try to break this down into two streams. So we'll probably, we're gonna stop halfway through, give or take where that halfway point is when we see how long we've been going, but by the time we get there. So right now we're gonna go with Cersei, and we've seen in the last season how Cersei is just like on some I don't care bullshit. She just wants to rule. We've heard the same thing said about Littlefinger, Peter Baelish, on how he would be king of the ashes and all that if he could. And it looks like Cersei is on that whole path, because she is first didn't believe the stories about the Whites and the White Walkers. Then she's shown proof. She looked scared to me, and you know what I mean. It looked like it bothered her, but I guess after a couple minutes of it not being in her face, she was right back to like the hell with them. I really didn't agree with the whole way they were so when she came back and they were like, yes, she went with it. Like, it's just Cersei Lannister. Like, what did you think? Because she said she's going to, help you guys out, that she was really going to stick to that. But anyway, so what we're going to talk about with Cersei is what we think, or what and when is Cersei's downfall going to be. So I'm going to start off with Alicia and just ask you, what do you think her downfall is going to be, and if at all, and if it is, when?
Well, I always thought she'd be into the last season, because obviously Nahidi is contracted through the last season. So a lot of people were thinking she was going to die at the end of season 7. I'm like, no, she'll make it to at least halfway through season 8, at least. When she does, I think there are 3 possibilities for me. With her, there's always been three possibilities. Euron. For the show, it's looking most likely that it will be Euron. For the book, I think it's most likely going to be Jaime. And in either case, Martin or D&D could pull an okie doke, and it could be a face changed Arya. We don't know. I'm giving Euron the number 1 spot though, because right now Cersei is by herself. I mean, she has the mountain as her sworn sword or whatnot, but that's not gonna stop Euron's plans. He's going to marry her, because once he gets back with the Golden Company, she's not gonna really have a choice. There's not gonna be anything there to hold up the decision. She's not gonna be able to pull something out her ass. Cersei ain't that smart. I'm sorry. This is just how it is. She's not going to be able to hold him back at all. She's going to have to marry him, and there will be a betting right after that marriage. Trust and believe. She probably won't enjoy it, but she's going to do it because, I mean, what else is she going to do? So that's the way it's going to go. Her downfall, again, I think it's going to be Euron, because, like I said, she's alone. All she has is the mountain, and she might be thinking she's gonna be safe, but no. I've been saying for past couple streams, Euron's gonna pull a Rorschach on her. Like, bitch, I'm not here in King's Landing with you. You here with me. So I mean, I would honestly, I'd be surprised if Euron really did hand over the Golden Company to her. I think he might be able to talk to their leaders and spin them to back him more so than backing her. But I don't know. We'll see how they pull it out.
What about you, Don Willi? How you feel the same way, or you think something different might happen to her, or if anything at all? Do you think she's going to make it to the very end? I mean, we're pretty sure she's going to make it till next season, but of course, because it's over now. But do you think it's going to be the same kind of outcome for her?
I'm expecting that Cersei dies in either episode 4 or 5. And I came up with the craziest way possible. Now, it probably isn't going to happen, but I think it would be awesome if it did. We know that Jaime is on his way up north. Jaime is not going to be the type of fighter that he really needs to be with only one hand. I think he is. All right. Here's my crazy, super tinfoil theory on what I think could happen. Jaime is killed, resurrected as a white, and winds up killing Cersei. Still her little brother killing her. So
right.
That is my crazy tinfoil theory of what I think could happen to Cersei. Now, if you want something more realistic, let's see here. If you want something more realistic, let's say that Jaime comes back. Like, Cersei winds up doing some extra fucked up in King's Landing. Jaime comes back. Now, I'm trying to think. You know what? All right, so we still... No, I think Cersei's going to have to evacuate King's Landing at some point. We still haven't seen... there's still a bunch of castles we haven't seen. We have not seen Storm's End, and I don't think they're going to end off the series without us seeing Storm's End. So maybe... I don't know, maybe Cersei goes to Storm's End for refuge and is wound up being killed by Jaime there. But I think that the practical way to do it is Cersei flees King's Landing. Jaime comes back because she's done something horrible or is about to do something horrible. Jaime begins to choke Cersei, and she stabs him. And just as, he's basically bleeding out, he winds up killing her and then winds up dying himself of stab wounds. But, that's just me.
I can see that. I can see that.
No, yeah, that's a good one.
I agree with you there. I don't think she's going to stay in King's Landing. King's Landing is huge, but it's not as defensible as some of the other castles like Storm's End. So that's a good call.
Yeah, and I really think that whole that shot that they showed with Jaime leaving King's Landing, and he's putting that glove on his gold hand, and you see the snow starting to fall. I think that's their way of telling us, look, King's Landing ain't going to be exempt from all this. You know what I mean? When it comes to the harsh winter that's to come, so that right there is just telling me, next season it's just going to get a lot worse. And I think a lot of these kingdoms that are, down to like the midway point of Westeros are going to have to they're probably going to have some kind of retreat fall back event because it's just going to take over. Like, I even think when they go to Winterfell, like they're going to probably have to retreat back again before this battle is even done. And that's a good point you made about Storm's End, is that they were showing pictures of places they were scouting out for next season. And they had one picture of the castle, and they had the drum tower that's known in Storm's End, that big circle drum tower. And it looked like there could be no other castle that this picture was but Storm's End. And it also makes a good point of why bring Gendry back if they ain't going to show nothing, if it's not going to go anything towards the Stormlands or Storm's End storyline. Like, was it just brought back to have him run to Eastwatch and say send some ravens, like? And the biggest part of that is when he meets Jon and they go over, how he's Robert's son and all that. Like, what's the point of having him so gung-ho for his Baratheon side if they're not going to do something to pay that off? So, no, that's a good point. Myself, I think with Cersei, I'm kind of like you, man. I think there's going to be maybe a two-part thing. I'm starting to go back a little on the Valonqar prophecy just due to the fact of, like, we don't know what's going to happen with her pregnancy, right? But if the prophecy's true, what Maggie the Frog tells her, she shouldn't have any more living kids. So to me, it looks like it's almost pretty much 100% it's going to be a miscarriage. But I think outside of that, the first part of it, I think, is going to be, like you said, something's going to happen to lure Jaime back. Like, Jaime is left her, but he's not going to have her out of his mind completely. I mean, they're twins. They have a bond no matter all the incestual shit that came with it. It's just, I think it's the same way with the other parties trusting in Cersei and her word. How can she trust in Euron? Like the season before, Euron was saying how Dany was the most beautiful woman in the world. And, now Cersei's the most beautiful woman in the world. You can't trust Euron. So it's like I could see him doing something to screw her over, and she does like a thing like she does in Feast when she gets taken by the Faith, and it calls for Jaime to come home to help her. And I think he might do it. And it's while he's there, she might pull one of her Cersei moves, and it ends up, making him, for the betterment of the realm, kill her. I don't know what that would be. I just think there's going to be something that's going to call him home. And on the whole Cersei topic too, I wanted to ask you too, what did you guys think about the mountain when she had two occasions? Tyrion, to myself, wasn't as 100% with killing him, but it seemed like she gave him the order to kill Jaime, and he just stood there. What I mean? He didn't go through with it. So I wanted to ask you guys points. We'll start with Don this time, man. What did you think about that? Did you think there was something up to the mountain not following through?
I mean, I think the nod that she gave wasn't a thing of like, go ahead and kill him. I think it was more of like, scare him, get him to back down, because it's one thing to, to pull the sword. It's another thing to swing it. So I think in that moment, it was more of like, just go ahead and show him that it could happen, but don't necessarily kill him. So I don't think it was the mountain not following orders. I think he followed the orders that he was given, which is more like, if I give you this, that just means, scare them a bit, see what they're gonna do next. If they make the wrong move, then kill them. But yeah, I don't think that the order was to actually kill Jaime. Me personally, anyway.
No, that's a good point. I didn't really look at it like that until you just said that. Yeah, it could have been, this like get unsheath your sword kind of thing, like the nod, like get ready, like you said, just give him a little scare. I never really looked at it like that. That's a good point. What did you think, Alicia? Did you feel the same way, or did you think there was more to it?
No, I thought the exact same way. And the more I thought about it, I think the same was with Tyrion as well. She wanted to scare both of them into submission, but she wasn't going to give that kill order herself. Like we've seen in all the previous seasons, like she always goes hard and puts Tyrion down and all this nonsense, but she still never had him killed. There were plenty of times, even before Joffrey died, she could have whispered in somebody's ears, one of them Kettle Blacks or Moon Boy, one of them other bastards that she was boning. Anybody could have shanked Tyrion at any time, and it never happened. Just like when she was meeting with him, when they had their little private parlay, I didn't think she was going to kill him. And even though I saw the Mountain pull the sword and she gave the nod, I think he was following the exact orders he was given. Just scare him, make them stay and submit to my side, and that was it. She doesn't want, I think, the direct order from her to come to kill either one of her brothers. Had Tyrion actually died as a result of the trial, she would have been fine with that. But for her to actually have their actual blood on her hands, I don't think she wants to do it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't really look at until you guys just said that. I mean, with Tyrion, I thought it was more just like a, it's just either this scare tactic kind of thing, or she wasn't, even though she talks about how she hates and she finds out from Jaime that he really wasn't the person that killed Joffrey, even though at first she kind of didn't want to believe it. She figured maybe just Olenna was messing with him because, that she's the Queen of Thorns. She knows how to mess with somebody. So it's like, I figured, I understood that part, but I think it started to sink in, and she really thought, that was one thing that Tyrion always showed, even with how sometimes the show can be really messed up with plot holes and everything. It always shown that Tyrion had a fondness for her kids, and I mean that was never, something that I would think like, does he really love them or not? So yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I think that's also why she brought up Myrcella and Tommen, because she was still looking for another excuse to hate him or to try to pass some type of judgment, but it didn't work because we all saw from the very beginning, and I think she knew it deep down too. Tyrion loved those kids. He would never have done anything to directly put them in danger. He didn't send Myrcella to Dorne to put her in any danger. He actually wanted her away from all the bullshit that he knew was going to happen in King's Landing.
Right, that's a good point, because from the first scene that you see all the main Lannisters together when they're eating breakfast at Winterfell, like how his interaction was with the kids, you could tell, like, I mean, he was that typical loving uncle, messing with them, hitting them with pieces of bacon and shit. So like, you never thought Tyrion had any malice towards them or anything. And like you said, he didn't think that, she was going to be poisoned like that. He was trying to look out for the best their interests as a family too. Like, what other better way to bring Dorne into the fold and not have to worry about, if they're going to go up against you by giving them one of your princesses as a marriage, or betrothal. So yeah, it's got the good points, both of you. But since we're on Cersei, the topic of children, what do you guys think about this whole pregnancy that she's having? Do you think it's a ruse? Do you really think she is pregnant? Or are we ever going to see this child? Or do you think it's going to be a miscarriage? Like you said, the whole Maggie the Frog thing, and there has been plot holes before with the show. That time I don't know if she was lying or not when she was explaining to Kat about how they had the black-haired baby boy that never lived that long. Or he was born but didn't live. I forget exactly what it was that she said. But do you think it's gonna come out and be a living child, or are we gonna have a miscarriage, or is it just a ruse to try to keep Jaime around in the beginning?
I think that she is pregnant. I didn't think so before, but I think there is a very strong possibility that she is. But to answer the question of will she have another living child, there's two words I put in my notes. Hell no. It's not happening. She's not going to be able to carry that child to term. One, either she's going to miscarry because of some fuckery with Euron, or 2, she's going to die before that baby is even fully developed in her belly. So it's not happening either way.
What about you, Don Willi?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think that she is going to miscarry. I mean, I think the most tragic thing would be for Jamie to really, have given up. And, while she's talking about, our dynasty, the last 1,000 years, it starts with our new child. He's gonna be like, yo, man, you know what? Fuck it. I think the Lannister dynasty needs to end with you. Yeah, man, I think that she is pregnant because why lie to Tyrion? It's like lying to Jamie to keep him around is one thing. Lying to Tyrion, it's like there would be no benefit for her to lie to Tyrion about being pregnant. And in fact, depending on who you ask, her lying to Tyrion might have, probably would have put her in even worse off position, because if Tyrion had told anyone else that Cersei was pregnant, then they might have already thought, oh, she's pregnant. We're not going to believe that she's actually going to commit all of her forces to this war, because why would she? She's gonna want to protect her position, and if she's starting a new family, that means she's trying to keep the crown long term and try to pass it on to her next generation. So nope, not trusting her. So yeah, I just think that she's not going to give birth to the baby. She's not going to have a miscarriage. I mean, because even though I could see it, only because it would make her more unhinged, and maybe that would be the reason why she, let's say if she does burn down King's Landing, if that's the vision that Daenerys has from the House of the Undying, is King's Landing being burned down by Cersei and not by the Night King or whatever. Her having a miscarriage would make her more unhinged, possibly. But I think it would go more towards the whole bittersweet thing if she actually would have brought the baby to full term, and Jamie's just like, yo, you know what? I had the chance to be a father, but if this is, what it's going to be like, no, fuck it. I'll sacrifice the future of House Lannister to get her the fuck out of here.
That's I like that. Real quick, I wanted to say Eduardo Blanco in the chat, he just said that she could die in childbirth, and that might fulfill the prophecy, like the kid could end up being Valancourt. Random medical issues happen in childbirth in their world all the time, so it's possible. Good thought.
Now, but here's my question, all right? Because since they didn't talk about the whole Valancourt thing in the book, I mean, in the show, that's a book only thing. Now, for those of you out there who might watch this, who have never actually read the books but have heard about the Valancourt prophecy, it does say that that her younger brother will wrap his hands around her neck and choke her to death. So unless they just decide to do something different for the show, then her dying in childbirth actually wouldn't be the way that she will go out. But again, since they never put that prophecy in the show, that's what they could decide to do.
Yeah, they left it open. True.
Right. So what is it? When she went to go see Maggie the Frog, all she really told her, right, was the amount of kids that she and Robert would have. And then it was, like you said, the little brother would wrap his hands. It never mentioned Valancourt at all, right? That's what I assume, right?
In the show, they didn't say the third prophecy at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
don't
left
remember
out
that.
the whole Valancourt. Anything to do with the Valancourt, they left that out.
Yeah, because that's all I really remember too was the number of kids that she would have, and the whole like what Don Willi was saying, little brother wrapping his hands around her neck. I don't remember ever them saying actual Valancourt. But yeah, I mean that's a good point. The one with the being killed in childbirth, if that was like the books, I mean it makes sense. Especially if she had a little boy, it'd still be little brother. You know what I mean in the book because he would be behind Joffrey, Tom, and Marcella. So it could be. I mean, that's the thing. It leaves it up to there's so many options available. But yeah, with the show, and then when it comes to the show, they've had so many holes in the plot before. Like I could see them not even acknowledging that flashback at all, and her dying something other way altogether. You never know when it comes to them. Seems like they really want to rush this to get it over with. So. Yeah, and then another thing too, since we talked about Cersei, I want to move on to Jamie. Before we get started on your guys' opinion on that, Big E made a good point that I didn't even catch. I don't know if anybody else did, but it said that the first time we see Jamie riding a dark horse. Now every time you've seen Jamie before, apparently it's been a white horse. Now I didn't know that myself. Like I can't say I saw it either, but did you guys notice that at all, or is this the first time he's ever rode a dark colored horse before?
You're saying he's riding a dark horse now, and before it always used to be white horses.
Right. That's what Big E said. He said, I guess when he's leaving King's Landing and it's starting to snow, it was a dark colored horse, and before he's been, I know he was on a white horse in King's Landing when he fought Ned. That I'm pretty sure. But other than that, I really never thought too much on Jamie riding the horse. If it's been in the Field of Fire 2.0, was he riding the white horse then too?
Yeah,
yeah.
He's riding a white horse, and Bronn saw another white horse and came and saved him. Yeah, now that I'm thinking on it, yeah, every other time I think that Jamie has been on either a white horse or a very lightly colored horse. Uh, and yeah, that horse that he rode out of King's Landing was definitely either dark brown or black.
I think it might, if they did it on purpose, it might possibly be a correlation between the Night's Watch and the Kingsguard, because the Kingsguard are white cloaks, and they used to be spectacular, but now being on the Kingsguard really doesn't mean shit. They're all murderous, ridiculous, rapists, pedophiles, and shit. And the Night's Watch, who everyone thinks are all the bad guys, all the criminals get sent there. They're the ones that are like the first line of defense again in the Great War. They're the ones trying to save people. So maybe now Jamie is on the dark horse because he's being put into that position.
Yeah, I mean, if that is the case, that's a good catch, Biggie, because I didn't even think of that. I mean, to it kind of signifies, the time to come. When the snow was falling, it was starting to get dark. Maybe it's and then the one thing I did catch about Jamie is that like when they show him and he stops and he brings out the glove to put over his golden hand, like, and then you don't see him with his typical Lannister armor on. He just got your everyday modern man's arm. I mean, of course, it's probably a little better than what a normal person get, but still, it doesn't have any significance of Lannister to it. So, like, did you think, other than like him, what he's riding into, did that have a significance to it? What is that going to show what Jamie's journey is from here? Is he going to pretty much not completely forget it, but put aside his Lannister heritage and name to go on for something better? How about you, Don? Let's go with you first. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't think that he's going to put aside his entire Lannister heritage, but I do think he recognizes that there is more to life than what's between Cersei's legs, and it's gonna, it's a thing where he's like, all right, well, it's not gonna matter about who sits on the Iron Throne if we're all dead, and that's the thing that they've been trying to get across to us for a while now. Is forget about who is king or queen. If you're dead, it doesn't matter. And so I think it's just him accepting that, he's been holding on to certain ideals for a very long time. And now this, him shedding the Lannister armor is kind of him shedding the particular Lannister mentality of do for self and, just all about self-preservation. So, I think that, when they actually see him without the Lannister armor, it's gonna be something, because they're probably gonna be like, hey, well, what is this? This isn't the Jaime Lannister we're used to. So I think it's great foreshadowing, and also I think visually it shows a little bit of character development as well.
How about you, Alicia? What do you think? Do you think there was any significance to it, or did you think there's a reasoning behind it? I mean, of course there probably is, but what did you think? Is your opinion on it?
I think it's just him actually, trying to stand by his word. I don't think he'll forget his Lannister name or his heritage. I think if he can, for both him and Tyrion, if they can, they will try to salvage something of their house after this. And I think if he does go in and, he's probably going to do a whole bunch of heroic deeds and whatnot. And that's going to, make people look at him differently, maybe. But I mean, in the end, he is still a Kingslayer, but he might end up being the most high of Kingslayers if he somehow defeats the Night King. I don't see it going that route, but anything's possible. I don't put nothing past D&D.
Right, and I think it's a smart move by him to at least, you're going into the North. You're a Lannister, and you are hated by every house in the North. If it's a good idea to at least go in there, not putting it in people's faces. Because if you see, like, just when Brienne comes around a lot, and they notice the Oathkeeper sword, like it's got the lion pommel on it, like that's one of the first things people look at, So like, it's better not, I guess, to draw attention to his Lannister heritage when he's, trying to get the point across that he's trying to, better himself and be different this time and not do the typical Jaime Lannister thing that everybody thinks. And it was funny when he's telling Cersei's like, I gave my word or whatever. She's like, looks at like, yeah, that means a lot, and it's I think it's good now. Like I talked to Alicia before about this when this ended, that I never really liked Jaime Lannister. He makes it easy not to like because of the stuff he's done. I do think he's misunderstood when it comes to the whole Kingslayer thing, because he did do that for a reason, and it's hard to just you can't explain that every time somebody calls you Kingslayer, and then it makes you look like you're trying to justify it, even though the justification was a good one in my eyes. But I'm glad that he's coming on some kind of a redemption journey, if you would call it that. But that kind of segues into the next question. I'll just say, what do you think that Jaime will finally get his redemption for being known as the Kingslayer? And if so, what will that redemption be? Or will he ever find his redemption? So we'll start off with Alicia this time. What did you think, Alicia? Do you think he's finally going to get that redemption?
Well, in the case of Jaime Kingslayer, I know a few people will think he's already been redeemed, Timo, PBM, excuse me. They probably don't see any need for a redemption with him. For me, Jaime is a golden dumbass, and I really give no fucks about him at all. I don't think there's a big enough redemption for him to get. I mean, it's the same with Theon. Theon can go. Just go. That's all he can do. Jaime's probably going to do some good in the North. I mean, at the very least, he is bringing them another Valyrian steel sword because he has Widow's Well. So that's definitely going to be a plus. I don't think he's going to show up with just him and Widow's Well, though. I think there's a few things along the way that he could possibly set his mind to doing to help bring some reinforcements. You know, we saw him leave by himself, but we don't really know if maybe he might have given a secret order that Cersei didn't know about and still had the crew getting ready to go to sneak out the city. So we'll just have to see what becomes of the Kingslayer.
What about you, Don Willi? How do you think he's going to find his redemption once and for all, or do you think he's just going to always be known as the Kingslayer and nobody's going to know no different?
Yeah, I think that will be the great tragedy of his story, is that he will always be known as the Kingslayer, the man without honor, even though, you know, him killing Aerys and probably Cersei will be the two most honorable acts that he will ever do. But still, he did push Bran out the window. So, I mean, like, Bran might forgive him, but I don't think the rest of Westeros ever will. Not fully, anyway.
Not once they found out that it was him. And I think if he does make it north and he does meet up with Bran, that conversation is going to be had. And I don't think it'll be with just the two of them in a room. So, again, we shall see.
I was wondering that same thing because I was just thinking about that. Like, I can't wait to see what the interaction is going to be. And that's what you just said. I don't think either. I don't think it's going to be a Sam and Bran by the fire moment. I think he might put it out there for all to hear. Just to say, because I don't know. I don't remember do we hear, does Bran know that I mean, of course he knows now because he sees all, but like, I don't remember hearing if Bran has said it out loud. Like, does he know Jaime was the one that's done that? I mean, we haven't seen him in 100% power mode, for that long. So, I mean, up until he was downloading all the Blood Raven's thoughts and memories, we probably wouldn't. But do you guys remember him ever making any inkling to that?
The only time that I've seen it was when he got the epic download. They went through a couple of those scenes with him falling and being pushed. I don't recall if they showed Jaime exactly, but they did show him falling. So if Bran remembers that, I think he'll be able to go back and see that it was Jaime that did it, and he'll see why.
I don't think they ever actually verbalized it on the TV show. I mean, if I can think back, I don't think they ever asked him, because it wasn't until Catelyn actually kind of figured it out for herself that anyone ever knew that Bran was pushed. Yeah, so that hasn't been brought up other than when Catelyn kind of figured it out. It's never been actually brought up that Bran was pushed out the window. It's all been, oh, Bran fell out the window and someone tried to kill him afterward. So, look, I think that if Bran actually does confront Jaime about it, I don't think that he's going to put him on blast. I think that he's going to be like, I know what you did. Thank you. If you hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be able to be here to help.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I always wondered that with Bran. Does Bran now? I guess now that he is the almighty, three-eyed Raven, is he accepting of his power and his fate now? Because you always hear when he was younger, before he had the push from the window, all he ever wanted to do was be a knight, and fight and all that. But like, and it was hard for him to take his mind around being crippled the rest of his life. Now, do you think because of this all-seeing power, like to some people, I think to myself, that would be one hell of a burden, having all these memories and thoughts. If you see any other kind of depictions of this kind of character that can either hear what people are thinking or see memories that are just going full speed through their heads, like how much of like a burden that could be on your life. But do you really feel that he's finally accepting that role he has now?
I think he's definitely accepting it. I don't necessarily subscribe to, if he hadn't have been pushed, then it wouldn't have happened. I think that all the Stark kids had a destined path that needed to be fulfilled, and Bran would have ended up being the three-eyed raven regardless of that push. Something else would have happened that would have incapacitated him to stay at Winterfell at some point.
See, I do kind of think though, like I was always on the side of it. The push from the window was like the catalyst to get him to finally, start going north to find this three-eyed raven. Because if you see when he's climbing and everything, he's kind of like following that raven to the path he was taking. Like I know a lot of people are in the camp that thinking maybe Blood Raven had that raven there taking him to see that because he knew the kind of choice that being the Lannister, Jamie / Cersei would have made and pushed him from the window. Like it's crazy when you think of all the different from these characters past. Like we all want to look at who's behind it, especially when it comes to like Bran, because like everything that happens, we're like, oh, that had to be Blood Raven. Like it's always Blood Raven. Yeah, I can see both sides of it though.
Or do you want to go on to the next question or next part of the question, wherever we're at? If you're talking, Tony, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, my fault. That was my bad. Rookie mistake. Yeah. With Jamie, well, I guess it goes back to the topic with Cersei. Now, do you guys think he's gonna eventually make it back to Cersei ever, or is that gonna be the last time he sees Cersei when he rides off from King's Landing? Don Willi.
Nah, he's got to get back because he's got to kill her. Period. Point blank. That's gonna be his last act. Is the I guess noble sacrifice or whatever you might call it. Yeah, that's gonna be his last act is killing Cersei. So he's gonna see her again.
I can see that, both ways. Jamie may possibly die a heroic death saving someone else in the Great War, or he will get back down to South, and I think it will be Storm's End, not King's Landing, and he's gonna like really truly see the fuckery that Cersei is on, and he's gonna end her.
Yeah, like you said, I can kind of see it both ways. Like with Don was talking about that making it more bittersweet. They were always together. They're always drawn back to each other. And it would be, I could see it like Alicia said, both ways. I could see him, trying to redeem himself and going out, with that redemption death of some sort. But yeah, I lean more towards him seeing Cersei again. It just seems, especially in the show, they usually go with the obvious and what people want to see, and it seems like more people would want to see that him be the death of Cersei. But yeah, we don't need to go further on with that. But yeah, all right. So then we're gonna go to the next one. The next one is gonna be Tyrion. Now, what do you think Tyrion's role will be in the what you call it, for the War for the Dawn? Do you think it's gonna be what part will he play? Now Tyrion's not known as a soldier, so he's known as a politician. But do you think Tyrion's role is gonna be when he heads north with Dany and Jon and the forces?
I think he will continue to stay an advisor. If Jamie does fall, either before or after he takes care of Cersei, I think it will still fall to Tyrion to take over the Westerlands if they're still doing the territories as they are. I think he'll be the future of House Lannister.
What about you, Don Willi? What do you think?
It's possible that he actually dies before the end of the season. Look, we have to figure out what exactly is Tyrion's arc. You know, yes, he is an advisor, even though in this past season he's been a very bad one. But, you know, we have to figure out what is it that he ultimately is supposed to be doing in terms of, you know, what would his role be after the war is over? Once the peace is won, you know, and all the pieces are put in place for who is going to rule or how things are going to be ruled, what then? What is left for Tyrion after this is all over? So, you know, and then like with the whole thing with him creeping on Jon and Daenerys, that was a little weird, obviously, you know, because the look on his face, I wasn't fully able to read the look on his face properly. It was either concern, disgust, or anger, maybe a mix of all three. But you know, he up to this point has not been as effective as we would like him to be. So going forward, it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be difficult to understand what Tyrion's role would be if he actually does survive to the end. So I mean, like, you know, where does he go after? So I know that that Tyrion is George's favorite character, but you know, sometimes favorite characters have to die, and yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like, I don't see anything that Tyrion would have to bring to the story beyond the war. So I think he's going to wind up dying. Maybe, hopefully not in like super horrible fashion, but I do think he's going to die before the end of the series.
What about you, Alicia? Do you think his role is just gonna be, you know, what we've seen so far with Danny, or you know, do you think that something kind of goes and segues into the second part of Tyrion? Do you think this whole, like, because with me, this whole look that he gave after that, it was, to me, it was like one of those looks that's open to interpretation. Like, to me, it looked kind of like jealousy. I mean, we all know a lot of the men that come into Danny's life is they're rather taken back by her beauty and her command she has as a woman. You know, a lot of men like a strong woman, and she comes off as a strong woman. She's very beautiful, especially the way she's depicted book wise. So, like, do you think that that is going to start to make Tyrion's relationship with her kind of, different, just having John there now is almost like the relationship, not just an ally? Or does he just worry that maybe her letting her guard down to John is going to hurt the cause?
I think he did look a tad bit jealous. I did catch that too, but I think he looked more worried than anything because they are in wartime. It's called the Great War for a reason. This is going to be like the greatest war of their age. And babies complicate things, especially when it comes to succession. And in the story as it is right now, who's really the true leader overall is in question in many different parts of the land. So I think with them having a baby, I think he's just more worried about how that can hurt them in the end. And it's because, some people don't care about killing babies or threatening them. And that may come back to bite them in the buttocks. But I don't know. His look at the end of that scene really was confusing. Though he should have known he wasn't going to ever have a chance, romantically with Danny. So I don't get that jealousy part of it, but I do understand the worry that comes with it. I think he may also be worried that Jon will have more sway than he does in the advice he gives. Like we already saw, Jorah was overruled basically by Jon already, and I think Tyrion sees that getting worse, and it worries him because he won't be able to guide the way he wants to. Jon will be a deterrent. I don't think he'll necessarily hate on Jon for it, but he will treat him with a certain amount of caution from here on out, I think.
Right. Yeah. I kind of go with that too. Like I don't. The look was kind of like, to me, I took it first as like, why is he creeping outside the door, But then part of me looked at it, I'm like, Tyrion does seem really for the Dany calls. Like I think Tyrion really does believe in Dany, and that Dany could make Westeros a better place than what it's had, in the past history, or at least the previous history that we've had. I think too, like you said, I think he's just worried that she's when love clouds a person's mind, and like you said, this is the greatest battle that they've ever going to have to face, and you need to be on your game because and like you said, love and babies complicate that, but it almost kind of goes back to with Tyrion. He did bring up the point that he wanted to talk to her about what happens if she was to die, and I understand, like a baby, it takes 9 months, that even after being born, it's kind of hard to get people to rally behind, a human being that can't walk, talk, and so I can understand where that isn't really going to solve the problem. But yeah, I think it's more just she's just worried. I mean, I don't think it's so much as like a lust, jealousy kind of thing. But yeah, I guess we'll go on to the next one. With this is gonna be just a straight up, just real quick. What do you think was the point of the showrunner bringing back Gendry? Was there only the point of him making the 100-yard dash to Eastwatch, or was it a reason that goes into season 8 for them bringing back Gendry? We'll go with Alicia first on this
one. I think Gendry has to survive, not just because he's the last Baratheon heir that could be legitimized, but because he's the Smith. We don't know of anyone else in Westeros that can reforge Valyrian steel. And I would think that, since there's Dragon now and Sam has all that knowledge from the old scrolls and whatnot, I'm guessing it will probably be something in there about Valyrian steel, and maybe he'll be able to incorporate that to make new weapons from, I don't know, maybe they'll find some shards at the Citadel or get sent to him or something or other. But I think he's important because he's going to be the one that has to forge that sword. Kind of like, what's his name? What Vulcan did for Odin in American Gods. And that sword is going to be what helps end this war. Whether or not Jon will wield it, honestly, I question that, because Jon is also still marked for death like everyone else is. But Gendry's importance, I think, will show a lot in the next season.
What about you, Don Willi? What do you think? Is there a reason they brought Gendry back other than to do the 100-yard dash each watch?
Nah, you know what? I would agree wholeheartedly, with the whole Valyrian steel thing. Now, I'm wondering if they're going to break show continuity again like they've done before and probably have Gendry say, oh, yeah, my master, the one who taught me blacksmithing, he taught me how to rework Valyrian steel. When, they didn't have that in the show. They brought somebody from Cohort to make Widow's Wail and Oathkeeper, when in the books it was Tobal Mott who was the guy who trained Gendry. So yeah, I could see it being a thing where, Sam finds out something about Valyrian steel. Gendry winds up, making Valyrian steel swords, because Lord knows they need them, especially since, for whatever reason, Dan and Dave decided that, oh, in the show there are only 10 Valyrian steel swords in the world, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Like,
That's that bullshit.
yeah, like I don't understand why they needed to, why they felt the need to say there are only 10 in the world, where in the books there are 200 in Westeros alone. I'm like, if you're gonna fight an army of 100,000, White Walkers or whites or whatever, you're gonna need more than 10 swords. And maybe this is their way of saying, oh, well, Gendry will be the greatest blacksmith of all time, and he's going to be able to make all these Valyrian steel swords. And now we have an overabundance of them in order to fight this great war because of one man named Gendry. You know, I can see them doing that bullshit.
One smith to forge them all.
Yeah, when it comes to this show, man, I don't know what to take no more, especially after that last season. And then you gotta get the people. Don Willi knows this probably better than most. That like there are gonna be them people that think the show can't do anything wrong. And don't get me wrong, this is one of the greatest, if not one of the greatest show on television. And I will be here every Saturday at 9 o'clock to watch it, just like everybody else. But there's nothing wrong with criticism. You know what I mean? It's not like everything they do is terrible. You know, it just you can if you I think a real fan of this show would be there to say, look, this ain't right. This, things don't look like they should look. And it's like I don't see nothing wrong with criticism. I was always told as a kid, you gotta be able to take some criticism in your life because you ain't gonna be perfect. You know what I mean? And I hate how some people bash people with channels that make criticism of the show. It's like, come on, man. Like, stop being a fanboy, and just, deal with people are allowed their opinions. It's America. So at least where we're at. But anyways, I guess that was the only thing I really had on Gendry.
But real quick, I just want to say that you don't realize, Tony, if it's not a 10, that means you gave it a 1. If you didn't give it a 10, you gave it an absolute 1. It means you hate the damn show. You think it's the worst thing ever created because you didn't give it a 10. And fuck out of here with that dumb shit.
No, I trust me. I hear you. I was looking at one of Quinn's from Idea Ice and 5 video, and they were just leveling him in the comments, and I'm like, are you like how could you say that this show's the greatest in the nobody's saying it's not a good show. It's like, why is a criticism not allowed? I don't understand that. Like, even the best of shows that ever have happened, every best movie, The Godfather had some stuff to criticize. Don't mean it wasn't one of the greatest movies ever made.
Listen, some people just like to take it in the face from the producers or whatever show they like. So, if you enjoy taking it in the face from Dan and Dave, that's on you. I personally don't enjoy taking it in the face from anybody. So, if your show thought, you like to get, you like to get on both knees and take it in the face, hey, do you? But don't tell me that I have to just because you enjoy, warm man milk on your face.
I mean, just because you want to be out there being Cersei Lannister and taking all of the people, including Moonboy, for all we know, that's fine. But stop with the bullshit on people that have criticisms. Like Quinn even says all the time, he loves the show, but still, if some fuck shit happens, you're gonna get called on that. It's not that hard to see.
I hear you. I'm all for it. But yeah, like, let's go on. As a matter of fact, this is wrong, Kendra. Real quick, quick answer. What do you think the end game's going to be for Gendry? Do you think he's going to end up with the Stormlands? Is he going to take the Baratheon name, be legitimized? Maybe have the Stormlands, at least Storm's End.
Yeah, I think whichever monarchy or whoever takes charge after all this shit is done, I think they will legitimize Gendry, and he's going to be granted Storm's End. I don't think he'll want to try to pursue lineage and rule from the Iron Throne. He's not about that. Right now he's just about House Baratheon and what his heritage was from his father. I think Storm's End will be the perfect place for him to go.
What about you, Dom? Do you think it's going to go the same for him?
I mean, you know what? I think that Gendry, I think guys like Gendry, Sam, Arya, Sansa, you know, they're gonna obviously be the next generation of rulers, but I think that it's gonna wind up being the thing where you have people who are gonna wind up being like these great teachers that help to rebuild society, you know, after the war. I think, you know, the war against the White Walkers is going to ravage the country, and we're going to lose a lot of prominent, not only centers of knowledge, but just knowledge in order to do certain things. And, you know, you're going to have a guy like Gendry who's going to be the guy to you know, teach about smithing, you know, maybe masonry, and those type of things. Sam is going to be the guy who's, you know, trying to advance medicine and, you know, try to make sure that everybody goes to school. Sansa is going to be the person who is going to help stabilize the politics of the realm, and Arya is going to be the person that, you know, teaches people how to fight. You know, so that's why I think that's what I see, you know, for Gendry for the future, and obviously some other people as well.
I think there's a potential for all of the survivors to kind of embody some of these legendary figures that we've heard of through the histories. Like Gendry is the blacksmith. He could potentially be the next Bran the Builder with how, you know, he goes about helping to rebuild the realm. I mean, we know he has some basic knowledge at least of magic, because you can't reforge Valyrian steel without the spells and whatnots to make that happen. And his teacher knew how to do all that shit. So I would think that Gendry has that knowledge as well. And with teachings from Sam in those old scrolls and all the magic that was probably recorded in them, I think Gendry could see the way to, you know, fortify different buildings like Storm's End is, with magic protecting against another long night. But that's tinfoil, you know.
Cool. I dig it. Yeah. So we're about up to the hour mark here. We got a couple more people to do before we end, but I just wanted to give credit where credit's due, and shout out some of the people in the chat. We got about 24, 25 viewers right now. But give a shout, T Baby, thanks for coming out. Anita, Rich Shatwell, Biggie, props on that Dark Horse Biggie. I did not catch that. Carts, Eduardo Blanco, Peter Griffin, Sarah Charles. Let's see, Cheekiest is here. Hey, Cheekiest. Let's see, Miss Ion Trone. Can't forget Ion Trone's always there. BBM's in here. We got, is there anything I'm missing right now? I think that's all. Spots. I see Spots always in there. Thank you. I see Spots. We had Jayon Calrissian, I think. Calrissian, yeah. Jayon Calrissian. Yeah, that's all I see right now. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but thanks for everyone as a whole for joining us tonight. I'm grateful for everyone that came out, and I'm grateful for my two panelists just as much. So we'll move on to Arya. Now, with Arya is a very complicated character. I mean, she comes off fully psychopathic most of the time. Right now, she just, you know, seems like she just wants to kill, has a bloodlust. A lot of people were kind of perturbed the way her and Sansa's little back and forth went. A lot of people thought maybe it was just part of the, you know, there was their little game. But then you've seen that there was a deleted scene where Sansa went to Bran to ask, I guess, to see or whatever what he should do with the whole, or what she should do with the Arya thing. So I don't think so much it was part of their game. I think Sansa was really confused. You know, Littlefinger has been, you know, leading her around by the nose for a while, And whatever. I mean, I could go without seeing that whole interaction again if I lived till I was 100. But yeah, so what did you guys think with that whole interaction between Arya and Sansa before we get on to what part Arya is going to play? Did you like that uh, little back and forth between her and Sansa, or did you think it was unnecessary, Don Willi?
It was unnecessary, and also it kind of almost seemed out of character for the way that they built her up, from the beginning of the season. So, you got to think about it, right? In the beginning of the season, she bumps off the phrase. She's going to go to King's Landing. She meets up with the Lannister soldiers, and she decides not to kill them because, you know, um, when I had when I watched that scene with her meeting up with Ed Sheeran and the rest of the Lannister soldiers, I was like, holy shit, she's about to, just slaughter all of them, and then she doesn't. Right. And even the next episode was like, all right, well, she didn't that we saw of, maybe in the next episode we find out that she killed all of them. It's like, nope, she didn't kill them. She goes to the end at the crossroads. She meets up with Hot Pie. Hot Pie tells her, hey, yeah, your brother's king in the north now. And we see kind of more of the softening of Arya. She meets up with Nymeria, and again, we see more of the regular humanity. When she first comes back to Winterfell, we see just the regular, humane Arya. And then the moment that she finds that letter, she just goes full fucking psycho and is talking about that she wants to kill Sansa and wear her face. I'm like, whoa, what? How did she get from here to there? And then, it's like no kind of understanding of like, yeah, I was a prisoner of the Lannisters. It's not like I was there, just like, hey, oh, yeah, you want me to write this letter? All right, cool. What do you need me to say? No, she was a damn prisoner. So the fact that Arya kind of flipped on her was like, so you're telling me she's still holding a grudge against Sansa from like 5 or 6 years ago over something that she would have to know wasn't necessarily her fault. And the whole way that they went about killing off Littlefinger. I mean, yes, I'm happy that Littlefinger got exposed before he died, because I was definitely I would have given the episode 1 if they would have just been like, oh, you try to turn us against each other, you got to die now. But the way that they went about it, I think, it felt forced. And I've been telling people for the past couple of days, a lot of the outcomes that happened in this episode, when you get to the end of the result of what was supposed to be a sequence, it's like, all right, the end result was cool, I like the end result, but then when you start to work your way backwards, like how did they get there, then it kind of falls apart because it doesn't make sense of how they actually got to that end result. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, how do we get from Arya telling Sansa that she's, plans on killing her and taking her face and pretending to be her, to them conspiring to kill Littlefinger? And, yeah, we hear that there's a deleted scene or whatever. But then even after that, it's like, yeah, you threatened to kill me before you thought, when you thought I was a traitor. I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but if I had a sibling who threatened to kill me and I thought they actually could do it, yo, nah, man, I don't think we're just gonna go to being, that we're gonna be cool after that. I'm like, you threatened to kill me and impersonate me. Yeah, you know what? As Lord of Winterfell, I'm gonna give you a bag of gold. I do believe the Dreadfort is open. You can take some men, you can go there. Don't come back here. Thank you very much.
How do you feel about that, Alicia? That whole going back and forth between Arya and Sansa?
Yeah, Arya did go from 0 to 100 in the span of 2 seconds. No chill was had on that day. And it again reminded me of the scenes in Bravos. I mean, all this cool stuff that this girl is supposed to be able to do, and how she's supposed to be able to, you know, navigate these things intelligently. It didn't pan out in Bravos, walking around looking like baby Ned and didn't expect to get shanked out in the open. Same thing happened at Winterfell. You know, it didn't make sense the way it went down between the two of them. It was bothersome, but you know, luckily they did get back on track. And that deleted scene would have helped pull everything together with her and Sansa. I would have liked to see a conversation between the two of them after Sansa had found out everything from Bran also. And maybe if we could have seen them actually mending the fences, then there wouldn't be so much of an issue with the way they took out Littlefinger. But I'm absolutely glad that little bastard is dead and everybody knows what the fuck he did. Word will spread fast, and everybody that was his ally is probably going to try to get the fuck out of Dodge because they're going to think that they might be next.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Did you also talked about what her play in the war for the Dawn is going to be?
Yeah. If you want to go ahead into that, go ahead. What do you think her role is going to be? Is she going to be fighting alongside Jon, or is she going to have another purpose?
I think that as of right now, her purpose is to be another skilled sword in the Great War. I think with how they want to try to get everyone that can be battle ready together, I think that between her and Brienne, they're probably going to try to train some of these children that will have to be fighting on how to do so effectively. And Arya in particular, I think, will be good at that because she's small. You know, she looks like, you know, a little tiny girl still, but she can handle herself. So that knowledge being passed on will be quite intriguing to see. AU Packmule has a video out about what he thinks Arya's role will be. Y'all go over to his channel and check that out. I won't mention it here, so go look it up if you're interested.
Oh, I think we got a special guest here. I think this might be from the grave. Peter Baelish has joined the motherfucking panel.
You know what? Fuck you, Baelish. I'm glad you're dead. Sorry, not sorry.
Did someone say something about knowledge? Knowledge is power. And I have the most knowledge in the show and in the books. For some reason, they made me absolutely unknowledgeable in the show. But in the books, you know that I have the most knowledge. Listen,
it doesn't matter.
Chaos is a ladder. And that is how I was able to climb out of my grave to be here tonight. So, screw you, Lord Commander. You don't command me.
I don't need to command you, bitch. You are dead.
Hashtag Mockingbird for King.
Fuck that. Hashtag knowledge, motherfucker. Do you speak it? You got dead because your knowledge wasn't good enough. So there.
He also had many accents. I did not like the accent switching left and right from every episode. It was kind of crazy. It was weird because I was like, when I first heard him this season, I said, did he sound like that last season?
Listen, I'm sorry that you know, he came and just kind of bogarted his way in like that. That was very rude of him, you know. And he's still talking about Mockingbird for King. You see, I took the banner down, so you know we all know what it is. No, shut up, Peter. Shut up.
He came back from the damn grave looking like a straight imbecile.
Yeah. See, I didn't with Littlefinger, man. It was like a lot of people had a problem with the way they took him out. I didn't have so much of a problem how he went out like sniveling in the ways he did. I had more of a problem when shit started falling in on him, and he went over to Jan Royce and was like, "You're gonna take me back to the veil." Like, Royce never like you. Like, why would he think that he, after being in all that, knowing everybody, at least the Lady of Winterfell right now, everybody's there for them pretty much. why do you think that he would just be like, you know what? I'm sorry, sons. I gotta take my Lord Protector of the Vale home. Man, he was waiting for that moment. If anybody, Jan Royce was.
Yo,
Jan
man.
Royce is a hater. Jan Royce is the biggest hater in the Vale. We've known this for a very long time. Because I'm the Lord Protector. I am the Lord Protector. I'm the one who won the Battle of the North, the Battle of the Bastards. It was me. I am the true savior of the Seven Kingdoms. And you people, hey, stop it, all right?
Savior my ass. Baelish went out like that punk ass little boy that first got to River Run and didn't know what the hell to do with all that goodness. Fuck it.
I deserve Catelyn. I deserved her. I deserved
bullshit. Bullshit. You fucking disrespected 2 whole generations of Starks. Damn it, you had to go. You had to go.
Yeah, listen, man. I don't know. Yo, Baelish is tripping tonight. You know, I don't even know how the hell he got in here, honestly speaking.
Hey man, my chats are open for everybody, man. Even people like Peter Baelish.
He force ghosted himself in. That's what happened.
Nah, like my whole thing is though, like look, I give credit to him. He was a great intriguer, but my whole problem with Littlefinger was, not to get too much off topic, but I think he made it a little too far for me. Like in that kind of society, that feudal society, it's like almost like a medieval like style of world. Like men like him I just don't see them making it to, because most of his plays were based to me off of luck and chance, and unless he's the luckiest cat that ever walked the face of Planetos, like I don't see how he made it as far as he did just off intrigue and chance alone. Like there's a lot of big like brooding kind of men that this, you know, and that's, I think it kind of went good with the way he went out and it was in the north, because like you can do that whole, you know, that southern way of doing things in Westeros, but the north ain't having that shit. I mean, they make the north come off like barbarians and they're idiots, but when it comes to being a man, like I just didn't see him, you know, parring up with anybody else there. And I guess, you know, it made sense for him to go out where he did. I just think he made it way too far for the kind of man he was, especially going off chance. Nobody's that goddamn lucky. But anyways,
stop.
Yo, Eli just said something good.
What did he say?
Shut up, Baelish. He just said he wished that Sansa would have sent Baelish to the wall. Like that would be worse than death for him. And I think
no
that's
one puts Baelish in the corner.
You ain't got to be in the corner. Damn it, you dead. You just in the ground.
Yeah, I guess that would be pretty good. Made it, put it to the wall. But knowing Littlefinger, he probably got out of it somehow. He'd have slithered away and on the way there or some shit. But enough with Littlefinger. I guess when it comes with Arya, we pretty much made our point. Did you think that like the whole thing I didn't like about Arya was with how she was throwing it in Sansa's face, how Sansa didn't do enough. And then when Sansa's like, what'd you expect me to do? I was a kid. I had Lannisters all around me. She was like, I would have did anything. And a lot of points that have been brought up to this is that when Arya was Tywin's cupbearer, she could have did something. And even with Jaqen gave her 3 names. Why didn't she give one of them as Tywin? You know what I mean? Like I can understand it.
The Starks are idiots. I would kill Tywin if I had the chance, but Tywin was holding down Harrenhal for me.
Yeah. Anyway,
Tywin is rolling over in his grave right now. So I was holding what for you, boy? Bye.
Yeah, did you I mean, of course that goes with the whole back and forth thing. That was my main problem with that whole back and forth with Arya and Sansa. It was like she was making it like Sansa should have risked her life and did what she should have, and I mean could have done for the family, when Arya had more chance, I think, than Arya, because you see how pretty much, you know, it fell apart after Tyrion killed Tywin. So I mean, Arya to me had more of a chance to bring the Lannisters down a couple pegs than Sansa did. I mean, Sansa was getting ready to push Joffrey off the Maegor's Holdfast into the dry moat from the spikes if it weren't for the Hound stopping her. You know, she looked like she was at least, even though it might have been driven by the way she was treated, shit. But still, like I think she made more of a choice to try to do things even more than Arya did. But that's that.
Arya knew that I was her greatest mentor. That is why she did not try to kill me. She had way too much respect for me because I am Tywin Lannister. I am the true savior of this story. And if it hadn't been for that fucking imp son of mine, who I don't even believe is my son, I would still be here and the Lannisters would be ruling Westeros the way they should be.
So I guess we're lucky BBM ain't on this because we done had every dead living character Funkos on here.
And Tywin would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling damn children.
All right, so we're gonna go on to the last person that we're gonna do in this one. We're gonna kind of break these in two, and I guess save the other ones for the next stream we do. We'll figure out a day next week if we all can be available. But we're gonna end this with Sansa, since we're a good way to segue into Sansa. She's part of that whole back and forth with Arya. So with Sansa, like I pretty much for this question just put Sansa ? Like, what do you guys think Sansa's role is going to be? Is she going to end up as maybe the Lady of Winterfell after all the things come out with Jon, and John's purpose takes him away from Winterfell, and will Sansa finally, get what she really wanted, is to be somewhat of a queen, and be in control of Winterfell, not just, the regent or whatever. Do you think that there's something like that in store for Sansa, or do you just think, Sansa's going to marry somebody, become somebody's lady, and just go off in obscurity? What do you think, Alicia?
Well, hold on. Really quickly. Did someone say segue into Sansa? I've been trying to do that for the past couple of seasons.
You know what, Baylor? Stop trying to slide into her DMs, bro. She don't want that. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's he's
send that bastard to the wall. Damn it, that is enough of him tonight. Oh,
don't put Bayless in the corner.
Shut up. All right, let's see. For Sansa, I think right now she's going to continue to have basically a Tyrion role. She'll be an advisor where she can. I think she'll probably help organize the retreat from Winterfell, because I don't think that they will be able to hold the north. I think they're all going to have to retreat south somewhere. Her main thing, I think, right now is just survival, so that House Stark can stay alive. I mean, everybody else in House Stark has some serious shit that they need to do, and Sansa is basically the only one that's holding it down on the regular people front. Like there's her. She's basically like what's the damn woman's name? Professor X's girl, Moira. She's the regular human that's going around helping stuff behind the scenes, and then we got Professor Branhattan and Westeros Jesus, and then the Faceless Wolf run around doing all that extracurricular shit, and she's the one that has to hold the house down. So survival, I think, is her main thing. I think she'll be a key factor in bringing in the Knights of the Vale, because she already has Jon Royce on her side. So if he gives the word, everything else is coming into play with the Vale, and Sweet Robin will easily bend to her will just because he's Sweet Robin. What, Baelish? What now?
Do you think, though, that with Sansa is, do you think that, I mean, I know this is a show, and I mean, it's more of a chance in the book. Do you think the Vale has anything in the future for Sansa?
Outside of her convincing Robin Arryn to join the fight, I don't think so. Now I'm thinking about it, when they retreat, the Eyrie probably would be a good location for them to go, because you can trap those whites pretty easily at the was it the door of the moon or gate of the moon or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
the bloody gate too. The Big
yeah. That could be a good choke point for them to have to battle against. So the Eyrie is probably a good place to retreat. And then she'd also be able to help get the rest of the Knights of the Vale going into that. Possibly if Edmure is still around and maybe Arya lets her know that maybe she might be able to get to him since like the Freys have pretty much been neutralized. I don't know. That's just a random thought.
How do you feel about Don Willi? You think Sansa? What's Sansa's role going to be? If, like Big E said, is there even going to be a Winterfell? At the end, is Sansa going to be the main Lord or Lady of Winterfell? Because maybe Jon will move on to bigger and better things, and that'll finally be Sansa's what you call it, she'll be a Lady of Winterfell. Do you think Sansa has other things in her future other than being Lady of Winterfell?
I mean, well, Sansa, currently is Lady of Winterfell. Whether she'll stay Lady of Winterfell is a totally different thing. She would have been queen if she just followed my lead. God damn it.
Shut up, Baelish.
And she's also Lady of the Dreadfort, but Dreadfort, what is that? I have absolutely no idea. Same way, like, who is this Edmure Tully that you speak of? So as far as the show is concerned, yeah, I think that ultimately she's going to wind up being one of the new rulers of Westeros. And yeah, I mean, because like I said, I think that Jon is going to have to become the new Night King in order to secure an everlasting peace. Sansa will be controlling the north, and yeah, her seat will be Winterfell because since Bran said he's not going to be Lord of Winterfell, I can never be anything because I'm the three-eyed raven. Yeah, I mean, see, here's the question then, right? If Sansa ever does get married again, if she has children, will those children take on the name Stark? I would love to see what they do with that one.
Yeah, that's a good question because if you think about me, even though the marriage was consummated with Tyrion, she was a Lannister, a Bolton. So yeah, that's I mean, I guess that's a hairy topic there to think about, I guess.
I think if she did have to, basically repopulate the house, I could see her choosing someone that could, take on the Stark name, and then, they get married and have heirs to Winterfell from that, because, they'd still be Starks by blood. So it's possible. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Right. Yeah, because I know the game I usually play, Crusader Kings, is the Game of Thrones mod. It has, if you marry matrilineally, it's a way for you to keep the name. So like if she marries matrilineally to another man, then their offspring will be of her dynasty and not the father. So I could see that happening too. I mean, it'd be kind of crazy, I think, if she was the stay Lady of Winterfell and to have kids and then them not be Starks. It would be weird to me, I guess. I don't know.
Now, how did they set up the whole matrilineal marriage thing though?
But I guess, like, I mean, if I know, like, see, it's weird because it's a game, but like, I know, like, say you are in this game I play, right, and you're a male and you're the Lord of whatever you are, say Lord of Winterfell, and you have daughters, just daughters. So you have no sons because if it's whatever region and how their inheritance rules are. So say like it's like how Dorne don't matter if you're son or daughter, whoever was born first is the Lord. But in the North, it's going to be man first. So even if you got 4 girls ahead of you, the man's going to be the Lord. So if she's the only one left, and say Bran abdicates to make her, the Lady of Winterfell. He doesn't want to be Lord. And the only thing that's going to be left, Jon really isn't a Stark, so he's out of there anyway. So Sansa and Arya would be the only two. Now that Sansa is a Stark, so in order for her to pass her dynasty name on, she would marry matrilineally, whatever that means. I just know it's a thing to do. Like I marry this person matrilineally, and when we have kids, they will be Starks instead of say, whoever she marries it ain't gonna be their name. And it's just a way to carry on the dynasty because I know in the game, if you don't have an heir of your dynasty, the game ends. That you can make the choice, take away the choice to be able to marry matrilineally, unless you change the inheritance laws in the game. Now, like Dorne, it doesn't matter because if you're firstborn and you're a girl, then you're gonna pass like Ariane. If she was to take over Dorne, if she marries a Ironwood, they ain't gonna be Ironwoods, they're gonna be Martells. So I guess it'd be the same thing. I mean, it'd be up to, I guess, whoever that region and the Lord Paramount, whatever. I guess that's another question for another time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. They could also just change the rule, which wouldn't be too far of a stretch because, Jon has already decreed that women can and will be fighting in this war as well. So they're already stepping towards that, I think.
Right. Like I know in the game wise, like it's left up to whoever is the top person in that region. Like your Lord Paramount of the North, it's up to them to change that law. Now they can I know in the game you can set a law to be gavel kind where there's no ifs, ands, or buts going back on it until whoever that Lord Paramount dies, then you're able to change it. If they set it as gavel kind, they can't be changed at all as long as they are the ruling party or ruling person in that kingdom or whatever. But like I said, who knows when it comes to the show? They could do all kind of crazy shit. Don't make no sense just to make the story go the way they want it to go. But yeah, Big E made a good point when we were talking about Sansa last time. Like when you were saying, Alicia, about the veil, and like it kind of goes back to the movie like 300 and the actual historical 300 where they're going against Persia and they get them to bottleneck in that little valley in the mountain. That would make perfect sense because that's what the Bloody Gate is. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like there's no better tactic when you have that much of a disadvantage in numbers, but to bottleneck them, you know what I mean? So they can't get around you or flank you. So it makes a lot of sense with the Eyrie, them retreating back to that area. What do you think? Do you think about that? Or do you think that's a tactic that is, might use in the show?
I think it is possible, but the only thing with that is those whites can climb quite easily. We've already seen that. So it is possible that they could navigate around that gate and still get into the Eyrie. But no, we'd have to see how it went. The Eyrie is pretty damn high up there. So I think they could still mount some pretty good defenses.
What do you think about that, Don Willi? You think that's one of their one and only choices to try to make the numbers go, in their favor by, taking it and choke off point somehow like the Bloody Gate? Or is there another advantage or strategic thing that they could do to make their lesser numbers be to their advantage? What is your opinion on it?
I mean, well, definitely a choke point is a way to do it. And then also if they could, because like there's a narrow passage that goes to the Eyrie. If they could find some way to, I guess, lure them. I mean, now the only thing about it is after this, pretty much the Eyrie would be no more. If they could find a way to get the entire army to go along that narrow passage to the Eyrie and then basically destroy that passage, then that might also work as well. But again, this means no more Eyrie at all. But who knows? They might still be able to find a way back to the mainland after that.
That's a good callback. And actually thinking about 300, they also had like a little goat path that allowed the enemy to get around them. But I'm thinking if they did get there, would Robin Aaron or possibly Tyrion, if he also falls back to the Vale, which I think he will with the other folks that aren't really fighting, if he can rally the mountain tribes again, they are some pretty squirrely folks. They're basically wildlings. They could possibly hold that extra path and add to the numbers fighting in the Great War.
Yeah, I never even thought of it. I forgot all about what was the guy's name that was rolling around with him? You remember his name?
Shit.
Shagga son of Dolph.
Oh,
Yeah, Shagga son of Dolph. Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. It might be a little hard to control, but maybe if that one of them or whatever that fought with Half Man, they'll be up with fighting with him again.
Oh, yo, Sarah Charles actually just put something cool in the chat. She said Maya Stone to the rescue. And I would be all for that because Maya Stone is another Baratheon bastard. King Robert's first child, I believe, actually. And that, I think, would fit well with her maybe rallying the mountain tribes. Could happen. I don't know. Maybe it's just tinfoil or wishful thinking.
All right, I'm gonna end with this one last question before we get up out of here. But do you two think that the Golden Company, we've heard it said a couple times in this last couple of episodes, do you think we'll actually ever see a form of the Golden Company? And if so, do you really think that Euron's gonna bring them back to Cersei, or do you think he's gonna stab her in the back and maybe take them to Danny as like a gift, as saying, "Look, I want to show you, switch my allegiance," kind of shit? Because Euron's, untrustworthy, so I can see anything happening with him. What do you think, Don?
I think he is going to bring the Golden Company, but I think that they're going to wind up being under his control. So I think it's going to wind up being a thing where Cersei, tries to command the Golden Company to kill Euron, and she was like, I paid you or whatever, and they were like, nope, we actually, I think we're going to find out that Euron is super rich on the low. Because he sailed all over the world. And if you know about Euron in the books, Euron is super rich to the point where he just gives away jewelry and gold and all that stuff to all of his people. So I think it's going to wind up being the thing where, like, yeah, we got money from the Iron Bank, but, then this dude came along and paid us even more money. So it's going to be a thing where she tries to command them to kill Euron, and then we're like, nah, we should kill you, but, he didn't tell, he told us not to. And then they're just going to leave.
That's a good point, because I remember your stream last night about Euron, and like the one thing I thought about was with the books, it almost seems as though Euron doesn't really have much of a want for material things. Like, it's almost a catalyst to control people. It's how that's what most people strive for, and what makes them, bend to your will is by buying them. So he almost, he's really rich, but he almost like doesn't care about it himself. He just uses that as the way to control the people he needs to control. And in this case, being the Golden Company, they're sellswords. They're gonna want money, What do you think about it, Alicia?
I think he is definitely going to betray her, and he's going to get the Golden Company in under his command. It was something I had just thought about, and I lost the damn thought. Oh no, I think we could possibly see a repeat of what happened with Ned in the throne room. And while Ned thinks things were going to go okay because he had all these people at his back, he had the city watching his guards and whatnot, and it didn't happen the way he thought it was going to happen. The City Watch rose up against him. So I think Cersei could be put in the same situation, and the Golden Company is going to not back her, and that's going to be the start of some rather large problems in her game that she's playing.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. So I guess think it's a good time to wrap this up. Unless you guys have anything else you want to go over. Don?
Hashtag fuck Baelish.
You guys straight? All right. So yeah, we're
Nobody
gonna
puts Baelish in going up. No one.
We're gonna go ahead and end it here. We'll get together maybe hopefully sometime next week, and we will finish up where we think this is gonna go when it comes to next season. Of course, I purposely saved the people probably more want to hear about till next time. That being Danny, John, and the Night King / White Walkers, and what we actually think their motives are going to be. That is the main thing I am waiting for with the book, the show, is to find out finally what the motives are to this Night King and the White Walkers. That's the one thing that's got me so intrigued to want to get this shit, done, the book at least, but I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that next time, but we'll go ahead and do outros. Go ahead, Alicia. Tell them about where they can find you.
Yeah, word. Thank you for having me on, Tony. It's always good to hang with my brother and with Don Willi in the spot. Y'all can find me always with my sisters at the Mad Queens. Pretty sure since the season's over now, Monero's gonna schedule a ginger ale chat pretty soon. So stay tuned, set your notifications for that. And I'm always around in the streams. Y'all know y'all can find the Lord Commander everywhere holding it down. Trolls not welcome. Fuck all of you eunuchs. I hate you, and I hope all the bad things in the world that can happen to you and only you. AK out.
Damn. Don Willi, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you guys know where you can find me for the most part on my channel, Don of Ice and Fire. If not, you can find me with the Hype Swatch doing, whatever it is we're doing. Don't forget Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Catch me live doing my Ice and Fire opinions, where I talk about some of our favorite characters. Yesterday, I was doing Euron Greyjoy. Next week will be his nephew, Theon Greyjoy. And I haven't figured out what I'm doing for the week after that yet. I thought I did, but apparently no, I did not have that one written down. So, yeah, and also I gotta do all my damn season 7 reviews for like episodes 4 through 7. So I'm gonna try to record all of those tomorrow and put those out throughout the week and do a whole bunch of other shit. I'm always working on something, goddamn it. Oh, and plus, The Case Against Dan and Dave, Part 2, Slack to the Future, coming soon. Because, you know what? They got to get it, and you show thoughts got to get it too. I'm coming for you.
Real quick, also want to put out special requests, Don Willi. I need to get some of them character profiles on location with reporter Don Willi back into the realm. So get it done, sir.
Yeah, don't worry. Good Mr. Baelish here has decided to let me borrow his teleporter. I will be journeying back across the realms again to bring you some more content. So don't worry. I'm getting back to the old school.
I just wanted to go ahead and say thanks to the chat for coming out and joining us. It's always a pleasure. To my panel, Alicia, it's always a pleasure. Don Willi, I'm grateful for you joining us tonight. It's an honor to be on a panel with you for the first time. So thanks a lot. And to everybody else out there, try to get this for part 2 next week, hopefully. So until then, this is Tony, aka Laura Last Hearth. Peace.